Are your financial habits really yours, or did you inherit them from your parents? Let's uncover how parental money mindsets shape your financial life today. Hello, I'm Kent Irwin. I'm a financial life coach, and today I'm talking with Shelby Hutchings. She's a business owner, video pro, and just a good friend, and we've met in Toastmasters.
That's right.
Today we're going to talk about inherited money mindsets and how deeply they impact you, and how the beliefs that you grew up with can affect you and your future.
So I think we all inherit money mindsets from our parents, whether we realize it or not, just like you said. What do you think are some common money mindsets that people generally inherit?
So let's first talk about some of the healthy mindsets that we might inherit. If our parents taught us delayed gratification, saving for the future, inheriting, hard work, those are good healthy mindsets that stick with us. Delayed gratification and things like just generosity. Those are excellent money mindsets. Things that we want to continue throughout our lives. Those are excellent. But
For our children?
Yeah, those are excellent ones.
Okay. So you've listed some of the positive mindsets. What are some of the negative ones that creep in?
Yeah, some of the negative ones that I see are sometimes people have an attitude of scarcity. They don't think that there's enough, or there's an attitude of poverty, a mindset of poverty. It wasn't modeled to them, delayed gratification. So a lot of times they have a childlike approach to money.
With the instant gratification?
Exactly.
Okay.
Sometimes they just assume things will work out. Sometimes they don't have the work ethic, that they didn't learn that in childhood. So that sometimes those things can affect them. There's all kinds of unhealthy mindsets. And I will put a chart in the description so people can self-identify some of the healthy ones that they want to make sure that they maintain, and some of the unhealthy ones that they might want to move away from.
Okay. So I've heard about scarcity mindset a lot. I'm sure a lot of us have. Can you tell me a little bit more about what the scarcity mindset looks like?
I can. So there are mindsets of scarcity, materialism, and poverty. Those are probably some of the biggest negative ones.
And what does that look like, the scarcity one?
When we have a scarcity mindset, we approach the world and our finances or our career as if there's not enough to go around. We feel like we have to compete, that resources are limited. We kind of close off what our possibilities are. We live with scarcity. So sometimes that affects our thinking and our planning in unhealthy ways.
And that's a belief that there is not enough for everyone.
There's not enough for everyone. So sometimes people aren't generous. They hoard. They're inwardly focused, and then people aren't happy. They're not thankful for what they do have. Sometimes in scarcity and in poverty, we sometimes see bad financial decisions because they think, oh, I might not have this opportunity in the future, so I have to grab it now.
Right. So you mentioned that some of these beliefs can go back generations, and I'd like to know, how does this affect the way that we handle money today within our lives? And also, if you can elaborate on how we can be an example for future generations to shift those patterns.
So a lot of these beliefs can go back several generations. So some of us might have had parents or grandparents that lived through World War I or II or the Great Depression, or more recently, the recession.
Right.
So a lot of these things can affect us and put a lot of fear in us. And having fear-based decisions, they get in the way for us enjoying life, or maybe enjoying being able to do the things with money that we would enjoy today.
Yeah.
So sometimes they have negative effect on us, is that scarcity mindset. But whatever the mindsets are, you can change your branch of the family tree. You don't need to be affected by those mindsets anymore. You can identify the healthy mindsets that you want to live by, and that you're going to make decisions by. And you can be set free from some of the negativity that some of the negative mindsets might affect you.
So can you give me an example of what you mean about that?
Yeah, so there's all kinds of mindsets. So one mindset that some people carry from their parents is how important just making money is.
Okay.
So the other day I'm at a Thai restaurant and I'm waiting to pick up my carry-out food from the Thai restaurant, and there's a family. There was a husband and wife, and then a son. He was obviously a professional man in his 20s. He had a really nice suit on. But they were talking about the new job that he was thinking of taking. And all the father could focus on was, you need to make more money. It's all about the money. This job's going to pay you more money. You need to go after it.
Right.
That's not a healthy mindset.
Right.
There could be all kinds of problems that this person's going to face just going after the money as the sole driver. I actually think that's kind of not just an unhealthy mindset, but kind of a sick mindset.
to just go after the money when there's such a holistic approach you can take.
Right. There's another example that I sometimes see, and sometimes I see this example on the lower income range, but not always. So for example, I knew this couple, and they didn't have a car. They were riding buses to work, and it was causing them to be late. But they got a really good tax refund. Do you think they went out and bought a new car or bought a good used car?
I have a hunch that the answer is no.
What do you think they bought?
They probably bought a new TV.
I don't know how you knew that.
Oh, really? Is that right?
That's what they bought. They bought a large screen TV.
Yeah, I've seen that in real life before.
Right.
That's why I guessed that.
So the psychology is we do without luxuries. We have an opportunity to live a little bit more luxurious lifestyle. We're going to make an emotional decision on something versus making a more mature decision on something that can advance us financially.
And the delayed gratification model.
And right, to choose delayed gratification.
It's a great example.
One thing I reflect on is my childhood. I knew all of my neighbors. I mean, like dozens, if not hundreds. You might ask how I knew so many neighbors. Well, I delivered papers.
Oh, that makes
I had
sense.
2 paper routes, one that had 50 and the other one that had 70. And we had, also it was a small neighborhood. We knew everybody. And so I could observe and I could look back at my adulthood at some of the different ways that people were raised. Families that didn't have maybe all the luxuries or the newest thing, maybe they drove the more economical car. They had a little bit more stability. You could just observe, they're just a little bit more cohesive of a family.
Yeah.
Now, as I see those adults, maybe at class reunions, I see that they've succeeded in their careers. They're doing well financially. They're more stable, more enjoyable people to be around.
Right.
They carried really positive mindsets from their childhood into their adulthood.
And a lack of stress, I would assume. From
Yeah,
the
they
family.
weren't as stressed.
Yeah.
Some families, when I would go around and collect, because we used to collect, cash, I could tell the families that were stressed.
And were they the ones who had nicer toys?
They had nicer toys. They had a little bit more chaos in their life. And sometimes they would turn off the light before I got to the front door. So I would come back and collect a week later. True.
I believe you.
And then other families, they would open up the door. The house was fairly well kept.
Happy to pay you.
They would greet me nice. Here's your allowance. And then at Christmas time, they gave me a tip.
Excellent. It makes a huge difference and it makes a lot of sense.
It does. There's so many subtle stories that you can tell from those different lifestyles.
I think it's interesting because I can see these two themes. One of them is maturity and the other one is the delayed gratification. And also kind of an ego thing is like, are you willing to take the economic route to wherever you are to be able to be in a place of peace and stability as opposed to keeping up with the Joneses, but then creating more stress and instability, which I think comes out of immaturity and a lack of awareness of the delayed gratification.
Right.
Or constantly being in the loop of instant gratification, I should say.
That's really true. I mean, delayed gratification is a hard one.
Yeah.
Because your kids,
They want it now.
they want it now and they see it, they want it.
Yep.
Right? So if we don't teach our kids how to address that issue when they're young, is it going to be any different when they get older?
Do you have any approaches on how to teach kids the ways of having maybe not financial literacy, but healthy mindsets around money? I know that recently this summer you did a whole course on that. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
So we taught a class at a community center on financial life skills to teenagers.
I'm sure that was huge.
It was huge. So it was so much fun to teach it. How we taught teenagers in a classroom setting that life skill of delayed gratification was through case studies. And they could experience live cases and they worked through it. But raising children is a lot different. They're with you 24 hours a day.
Yep, it makes a lot of sense.
So it requires flexibility, but consistency.
Yeah.
If you say that you're going to live a certain way and then you're not going to give your children everything that they want, you set boundaries and you set safe boundaries. And sometimes you tie behaviors and chores to certain ways of managing your kids depending on the age. And you build some of the basics of delayed gratification, hard work, not getting everything that you want right away. Makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's so funny. So I was talking to my daughter the other day, and my granddaughter just had a birthday.
Okay.
And we had this conversation about how some parents are granting their kids a yes day.
Where everything is yes?
Yeah, everything that they want, the parents have to say yes to for an entire day.
Oh, because there was that movie that came out.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So some
I've
family,
been asked for a yes day, just so you know, and I said no.
I said no.
I said no, because I know that this is going to require a lot of things that I'm going to have to say
Yeah.
no to, and I'm not going to say yes and then say no.
Exactly.
Yes, I'm saying yes. If I'm saying no, I'm saying no. So let's find something in the middle.
That's an unhealthy mindset.
Right.
So the joke I would say to your daughter is, okay, let's do it. For the other 364 days of the year, you have to say yes to everything that I ask you to do.
That's a perfect response. If she asks me again, I'm using this one.
That's right. And you know she wouldn't be able to do it longer than 10 minutes.
Right.
Don't do a yes day. That's silly. That's my
story.
advice. I'm not judging you if you do a yes day, but I don't think
Have
it's...
boundaries around your yes day. Maybe a list of yeses that they can choose from.
Yeah, and maybe do it for an hour.
Right.
You know,
Not
or
an entire day.
Exactly.
All right. So for someone who has realized that they have inherited some unhealthy beliefs, what are the steps that we can take to start telling a new story to ourselves and to go forward with more beneficial financial mindset, or a more beneficial financial mindset for ourselves and our future generations?
So what I heard you say is, how can I live out these new mindsets that I want?
Yes.
First, you have to identify the healthy mindsets that you do want.
Okay.
So I have a chart linked in the description.
All right, check that out.
Okay. So review the chart, check the unhealthy mindsets that you have now. And then also, and there's another column to check for those that you don't want in the future.
So then you can identify when they creep up.
So you can identify.
Okay.
So you would check the ones that you have now today, and in the column that says future self, you don't check those.
All right.
Okay?
Simple.
I don't want those anymore.
Right.
So in your mind, you've made a decisive decision that that's not the way you're going to think or behave. Okay? You think about it, you imagine it, you spend some time meditating on it. And then on the healthy mindsets, you identify the ones that you're good already at, and you celebrate those.
Great.
And you acknowledge those. But then you identify the ones that you don't do yet.
Okay.
And then you're like, oh, I see the benefits of those. Those are the kind of mindsets I want to have in the future. And then you start thinking about those. You start imagining what that life is like. Now, some people are able to just have these kind of aha moments and begin making the changes.
Okay.
But some people might need a coach so that they can walk them through, help them understand some of the triggers and blockers, and help work out some of the differences that couples have in their marriage relationship.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's very common.
Yeah, and then it becomes a matter of habit, right?
It does.
Then you start implementing, taking action, and then once you get the habit loop going, then you start making better decisions.
You do. And then it becomes subconscious.
Yes.
Because
that's
it's
what we want to be natural and subconscious.
Right, because that becomes the new self that you're building.
Right. And then our children benefit.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. So after having this conversation with you, it is amazing to me how much of these subconscious habits we pick up from our parents. And now that we have the tools that you've given us to realize how we can make that change, I feel super confident going forward. And this allows us to stop repeating the same habits that we've been repeating over this time and stop the cycle into our future generation. So thank you so much for enlightening us with all of this information, Ken.
Yeah, you're welcome. It'll be fun in future weeks. I know you're going to reach out to me.
Yeah.
Or we're going to bump into each other. You're going to say, Kent, I started thinking or started saying this, and I changed it because I'm more aware.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Start with awareness, and you have definitely given us that awareness today.
That's awesome. If this video was helpful, please hit like. Also, subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can be notified when we have other great videos coming out. Thank you so much for watching this video today. And also, in the comments below, tell me some of the mindsets that you've inherited from your family, whether they're good or bad. It would be interesting to hear about them. Thank you.